So we have 6 board members and about 35 members. And it's just a variety from all walks of life within the cannabis industry, from educators to store owners to anything you could think of, infused chefs, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Okay,
So,
I'm gonna let Natty jump in.
okay, go ahead.
Natty is a very special guest of ours at being a CCTA member, but I'm hoping Natty will tell us about the Dope Creative as well as who Natty is.
Absolutely. So I'm Natty. I have lots of AKAs too, also known as Natty B, also known as Natalia. Please just call me Natty. Um, and I own a production company. I'm a creator. I've been doing my art for like ever since I was probably like 2 years old. And I started doing my art professionally about 11 years ago, and I created Human People Productions. That's my production company, and I run everything artistic under there. For the CCTA, I am usually with my business partner, Dave. Dave and I run what's called the Dope Creative. The Dope Creative is we're a group of entrepreneurs who are all disabled, from physical disability to more invisible ones like ADHD and autism. That would be me. Um, and what we do is we just saw a gap in the cannabis industry, specifically at events, where accessibility wasn't being thought of on any level. So what we do is we consult events for accessibility, and um, we also run our own events, which are accessibility centered and make sure that the space is safe for everyone. And then we also, what we try to do is we try to find jobs for people with disabilities too. So um, everybody on the crew has some form of disability, from our graphic designer to our CEO. And what we're trying to do is find permanent jobs for all of them.
Thank you. Thank you for being here and being part of our CCTA team. And we do have a large CCTA team. We have a board of directors. There's 6 of us, and the other 4 were doing their day job things. They couldn't be here today. So I'm glad that Wally could come, and so glad that you could be here, Natty, because you're important. And what Dope Creative does with events and with teaching about inclusion at events is also very important. And that's why we're honored to have them as part of what we're doing with the Canadian Cannabis Tourism Alliance. And Wally, I'm going to correct you. We're in our 4th year. We will have our
Oh,
fourth
sorry. Jeez.
AGM. Yeah, we'll have our fourth AGM this November. And I mean, when I say 4th year, because we were organized for about a year before we incorporated and before we were able to do the AGM.
Yeah.
So we've been doing this work for a little while now, and the board has changed a couple of times. Right now, the board is Waleed as the president, and we have Jeremy Smith as the vice president. And myself, I'm co-chair with Wally with the events committee. I also do most of the administrative stuff, and I don't have a title for that, but I think I need one soon, Wally, because I'm doing it all now. So
Yeah.
administrative, whatever, right? And then we have Karen Mariano, and she's part of the board. Brendan Roberts is also part of the board, and Priscilla Wren is our financial chair. So we are a not-for-profit, and we did organize, I guess, about 4 or 5 years ago. We actually started in a strange way. We had Wally, myself, and Anthony Carvello, who was with us earlier on, owned cannabis lounges, and so we were having a conversation about how can we, build this up. So we created a little cannabis lounge alliance. This is when Kelly's Green Lounge was open in Orono. And then pockets sort of built from there. We had different people, and that's how we've come to be the Canadian Cannabis Tourism Alliance. So I myself, I'm Reverend Kelly, and I don't usually have this name up here, this Kelly Addison. It usually says KGLTV, so I'm not sure what Zoom I'm using today, but you can just call me Kelly. And I am a minister of cannabis spirituality. I do quite a few different things, including have a cannabis media channel. I'm a cannabis educator. I do cannabis events. This year I'm going to be doing cannabis weddings. And so I've got that sort of tourism and hospitality bug when I had that cannabis lounge open. Prior to that, I was a teacher. And before that, I went on tour with world famous music DJs all around the world and created like large scale events for music and all of those things. So this was not something that I knew, like being hospitable and tourism stuff wasn't something that I was like, yeah, let's do that. But it just sort of fell into place as I put it all together. And that is a very long story how I got here. We'll share that one day. But at the tourism piece of it really was that bite when I came into the cannabis lounge and I was watching people sort of need that place to go and consume and build a community and be together in cannabis. And because of the community that was built at the lounge, I actually started a cannabis spirituality movement and petitioned the government for it to be a religion and became a minister. Like a whole bunch of things happened. But what I really, really understood was if you can get somebody that is on the fence about cannabis to come in somewhere and take part in an event and connect with them that way and give them a good experience, you got them. And you bring them over to your side, right? Because they're feeling that, they're elevated, they're feeling that goodness, they're feeling that community. And I wanted more of that. And so I was doing cannabis and comedy, I was doing yoga talk, I was doing like all kinds of like edible conversations, round tables. Like people would just come in the lounge and we were doing that. And because I was doing it on a smaller scale there, it built to a big, big scale. So I had to stop. I closed the lounge after 2.5 years, and then I just started doing large scale events and hosting stage shows to demonstrate all of these things on a grander scale. And so that's sort of what we're going to talk about with the 420 piece. But as I was putting that together in my mind, hospitality and tourism and finding all of these cannabis operators that were working in Canada and now globally through cannabis tourism and seeing what lights it is around the world for people to just, get that if you can give someone an experience, if you can get them to come to your place and give them a cannabis experience, wow, you've got them, right? And so all these people are working hard at this global $1 billion on track to be global $1 billion industry and seeing that. And so I'm hooked. I'm here forever. I'll be with the CCTA forever. They'll have to kick me out when I'm like 125. I'm going to live to 150. So they'll have 25 years without the CCTA at the end. So now we're building, we're blowing up, we've connected globally, we do a show. There's so many more things. I'll stop talking about that. You can ask me more questions if you have them.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to meet you all, learn about you a little bit more in depth. Would love to know a little bit more like about CCTA, about what you're working on, what's coming up for CCTA. Love to, if you would share a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. I could throw in a few things. I mean, a lot of our work is government relations. So we're our government relations chair and VP, Jeremy Smith. He's going across Canada, talking to every province by province, municipal, um, again, municipal, provincial, and federal advocacy. So, for example, in Ontario, he's in close talks with the Attorney General and Doug Ford and a lot of mayors in the municipalities. We've submitted an 80-page proposal on amendments to the Cannabis Act through Harrison Jordan and Substance Law. And a lot of those were taken into account in some of the new Health Canada changes and as well in the changes for permits in Alberta as well. I'm sure you saw the news that they're doing permits there. So I know we had a bit of an influence there, and we're pushing hard in Ontario to get those same permits over here so that we can incorporate them into our event that we're doing in Niagara Falls, which is every 420. We'll chat about that in a sec, I guess. But yeah, I mean, what else are we doing? I mean, we're doing we're constantly looking at policy and how to make changes to better improve the industry. So Brendan Roberts, who is a world-renowned author, and he's one of Canada's top consultants. He's always doing research and writing papers on what could be done to improve the industry. And of course, when we were founded, Susan Dupej, who some of you might know, is also involved in helping the CCTA in terms of an education and um, yeah, in terms of an education standpoint. So she's at the University of Guelph, and we're going to be doing more and more collaborative work between all of us in terms of policy and advocacy and stuff like that. So that's a couple of things, and then. Maybe Kelly, you want to speak a little bit on the 420 event,
Yeah.
and I'll hop in.
Y-
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think it's really important to point out that we're advocates.
yeah,
And just like EduCanNation, we're not-for-profit volunteers. Like we're here,
yeah,
and I mean the hours that we put in every week, we meet every single Monday night. The board of directors meets every single Monday night at 7 o'clock. We host a member meeting on the last Monday of every month, in which we actually have been bringing speakers in. We never used to do this, but since the AGM, we've been booking speakers to come into this, and they're really valuable assets and conversations that are happening, people coming around the world to discuss cannabis tourism. And so pioneering is really what we're doing. We want to make change in cannabis tourism, both in Canada and globally. We want to be responsible for that framework. We want to be responsible for that network connection when it comes to cannabis tourism, travel, hemp travel around the world. And we are. And we want to be that voice. And we want to make sure that Canada is known globally as the #1 place to come for cannabis tourism. It used to be Amsterdam. It's no longer Amsterdam because they changed their rules and their regulations so much to force the tourists out. It's strange how that happened, but it leaves a place here for us to be able to take that over. And we've got a guy on our membership that has a dog sled business where you have cannabis alongside it. We've got people that are pioneering cannabis and culinary. We've got people that are taking people in hot air balloons. There's like, you know what I mean? Like there's like cannabis resorts. There's a Thailand cannabis five-star spa that we're working with, and you go there and you're consuming cannabis all the time. And we're hearing about this. We're in conversation with Planet 13 in Las Vegas. I don't know if you've heard about Planet 13. They're open 24 hours a day. They're the largest cannabis dispensary in the world, and it's like a playground. You walk in there, and it's crazy. They got weddings, they got everything. So these are the people that we're working with, and that's what we want to do, and that's what the CCTA feels so passionate about. So, and while he's talking about the government relations, the reason why we're so like lobbying and like, pedal on the metal for this is because we want change. We want those permits. Why can you have a beer tent and we cannot have a cannabis lounge? Why is it that you can't have cannabis lounges where you're consuming? I get the Smoke-Free Ontario Act. I get that there's regulations with smoking, but let's make places for people to have dignified consumption, for conscious consumption, right? You've got people that are traveling around, right? Medical patients, where are they going to consume in some different places? You can't go outside and walk down the street with that, right? Depends on the province. In Quebec, you're in trouble. You're in jail for the rest of your life if you wear a pot leaf on your shirt. I'm exaggerating, but you know what I'm saying. And so we want to be the people that are helping sort of build that framework, change the regulations, get this legislation written. It was never written. It's not like we're working against something that is illegal. It's not like we're doing something. No, it was never written. They never thought about it, right? They never thought about making cannabis regulations. They couldn't. Oh, where is your golf course where you can have a token? You're in the open air. You're not allowed to do that, right? Where are cannabis beverages? Why can you have a beer, but you can't have a cannabis beverage?
Yeah.
I'm starting to get on my soapbox. You understand? This is what I mean. When I started out, I'm like, we're advocates and we're pioneers, and that's why. This is what we're doing. This is why we spend the time that we're doing. We've got Karen Mariano, who we haven't really mentioned much. 40 years in tourism. This woman is what would be, and I'm not saying this, Karen, God bless you, that if you can hear me, like a qualified senior citizen with her age, she's not stopping. She's going for another 40 years in tourism. And
Yes.
that's what I mean. We've got a literal tourism pioneer because she's been working since she was a kid in Niagara Falls, which is the tourism capital of Canada. So this is what we're doing. Ryan Roberts, you mentioned him. Priscilla Wren is an East Coast representative of East
Correct.
Can, an LP who's like taken over the world when it comes to cannabis all over the world. And when Priscilla speaks, this is why I'm so sad that she's not on the call. It's like, oh, I love listening to her. She's so smart and she really understands cannabis business. She understands growing and products and everything like that. And that's our team. So, just a little bit of a nutshell. We've got about 35 members, and there are coast to coast warriors and pioneers.
That's
Yeah, for sure. And just to add a little bit to that, so we are also expanding globally, as Kelly was saying. So we have different kind. So of course, across Canada, we have representation around Canada, but we also have people in Australia and Thailand and South Africa. So we're slowly growing that global footprint. And our partners in the US, the Cannabis Travel Association out of California, and a gentleman named Brian Applegarth, if you know him, he's heavily involved in cannabis tourism. So we are working more closely together with that group and slowly building together into a global alliance that will kind of represent cannabis tourism across the world.
wow. That's incredible. That's amazing
Yeah,
that you're getting that much reach, of course, because
of course.
tourism, that's global. That's
Yeah,
not just, coming here to Canada. And I love that the work that you're doing, and it's very important. I know I travel a lot, and when I come into Canada and the airports and I don't see any information on how I can access or you know what I mean, know what my
correct.
options are. I would love
Yeah.
to see that. That would be amazing. Does anybody here have any questions about CCTA before I ask mine?
I do,
I will get into
JJ.
the
That's
420
okay.
event.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just wanted to let you know I will get into the 420 event, and before I do get into that, I would love if Natty would take some time to talk to you all about the importance of inclusion at events and accessibility. But I'll let you answer the question or ask the question that you're going to.
No, for sure. Oh, I think Jose, were you going to jump in with a question?
Yeah, I'm on the road and my phone is struggling to charge. I'm at 2%, so
Oh,
I apologize if I
Good.
happen to get cut off. I'm hearing so many wonderful things. It's inspiring. It's good to know, momentum and direction. With all these very big goals and aspirations and achievements, I'm left wondering along the way, how have you been inclusive to advocating as well for the sovereign market? Who do you have from the sovereign market advising, partnering with you guys, and along for this ride of, global domination?
mhm. Thanks, Jose.
Natty, I'll let you jump right in there.
Mhm.
So like talking about diversity, inclusion, DEI is part of what the Dope Creative does as well. And we happily come in and help at the CCTA with this kind of stuff. I am in the sovereign market. I have a client, they are Supreme Green, they're on Six Nations on the Grand. I'm their social media manager, so I have a pretty tough job there, to be honest with you, when it comes to marketing them and promoting them and having people come to the reservation. But that's what it's kind of about. We talked about it a little bit on the last meeting that I was at with the CCTA as well. It's a tough place, but to be honest with you, like I think I'm the only person on, like, they were looking for an Indigenous social media manager there, and they couldn't find one on reservation, couldn't find somebody that wanted to do the job. I am Indigenous. I just am not Indigenous of the northern part of the Americas. I'm from South America. Um, and I just happened to be able to get myself in there. There's lots of uh, boundaries, and like I don't even know what to tell you too much, because like I think there's a lot, like, in the works. We're trying to get a meeting together of the nations in Ontario to have a conversation, even just about how the retail shops can help each other grow and those kinds of things. So there's a lot of stuff in the works, but I'll be honest, like there wasn't much until we started talking about it at Supreme Green.
Thank you, Natty.
And
Wally, do you want to talk about Keith Henry? Do you want to share about our
I was
Keith
just
Henry?
gonna add to that. I was gonna say, so we're also involved, in addition to what Maddie's helping out with, of course. So we're in talks with the Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada as well. So that would be a group led by Keith Henry, and Keith Henry is a very well respected figure in both the Indigenous and the tourism community, and he has very deep relationships with the government as well. So what we're gonna eventually do a signed agreement between our organizations to get closer together. A lot of his members do want to enter the cannabis space, and he doesn't know much about it. So we've met with him several times, and Jeremy, our government relations director, is very close with him. So we're starting to build a program with him around this. It's taking time, of course. He's super busy, always traveling, but we are getting closer and closer with the Indigenous community, and there will be more combined work coming out in the near future.
It's also a mandate of ours to be inclusive. We
Yes.
have a representative, a chair of inclusion, diversity, and ethics,
Yes.
Anisha Reindorf in Calgary, Alberta. And so that's always something that we make sure that we are aware of and including.
Great.
Does
Thank
anybody
you
have any other
for
questions?
that insight.
Yeah.
I have 1% left on my phone. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure I'm going to get cut off here, so I'm just going to continue with my train of mind here. I've been advocating for sovereign Indigenous inherent rights within the cannabis space since 2020. I've built quite a resume. I
Yeah.
think that it would be a disservice to both of our goals in the industry to not have some sort of intersection. So please don't be shy to reach out to me. This is definitely a missed opportunity if we don't formalize some sort of communication. And I'll just leave it at that. Read between the lines before I get cut off. Thank you.
Thanks, Jose.
Yeah, we'll reach out for sure.
Awesome.
And JJ, just to go back to something you said, so about that airport scenario. So we are in the works with the government to create a QR code to be put into all major airports and port of entries with cannabis information, and all of that. They want that ahead of FIFA and World Cup with everyone coming in, right? So like you can imagine all these people are going to come in, they're going to come into these airports, they have no idea where to buy cannabis, what to do. So it becomes actually a security issue. So these guys are going to end up in the black market, without even knowing the difference on how to identify legal from not legal. So it is a project we're working on. So it'll be a QR code and app and everything.
Amazing. Because I would imagine that there are quite a few people around the world who are coming to Canada because cannabis is legal.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
That's right.
And in BC,
the data we're getting.
they're really planning for this around FIFA and having cannabis drinks and stuff available.
It's amazing.
Because the feedback from event organizers and music festivals and everyone that we're dealing with is alcohol is definitely on the way down. And
Yeah.
there's even things like coffee parties that are happening where
Yeah.
these things are selling out and people just going listening to music, having coffee. So imagine if you have cannabis and cannabis drinks also at that same location, right? It's the future. It's shifting to that for sure.
Amazing. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. That's
It's gonna happen.
Yes, love it. Amazing. So, Therese, did you want to hop in with and share a little bit about what you have going on over there in Nelson?
Sure. I'm not on video today, sorry,
No worries.
but I can speak. So we have a cafe in Nelson, BC called Yeah Herb. Brenton Raby has been advocating to start this cafe for years. I think we're going on 3 or 4 years. And he's finally put together a temporary use permit and submitted it to City Council. And the first wave that went through last month, the bylaw officers said that the cafe is within 7 meters of a sidewalk. And so bylaw officers are pushing against it. And so we are trying to rally. It's going to be heard again and hopefully voted on by City Council at their next meeting, May 3rd, I think it is. And so I'm curious if you've heard of this. I'm curious if you've heard these ridiculous bylaw things. I mean, we don't currently have a bylaw that that you can't have a consumption space within 7 meters. So they're just making up stuff. And every location in downtown Nelson has a sidewalk, of course, because we need accessibility.
Of course.
So yeah, I'm curious if you've heard about what's going on here.
US. In the US, I've heard these things happening in the US, pioneers that have come before Canada, maybe California and Colorado, up against the same thing. It's the same thing. If you're too close to this, if you're too close to this, and they give you difficulties. So I haven't heard of anybody else coming up with this in Canada, and I don't know what you would do with that. Is that it's because it's municipal, it's individual. You can't even say have the BC government step in because it is municipal. Every single municipality makes their own decision. So you just have to keep fighting that one. I've never heard of that. You can't get the government to step in. Maybe they could put pressure, like there could be, right? If it was in Ontario and we were dealing with that here, because our board has relations with the AGM and the people that make those decisions, we would go to them and say, this is what we're dealing with, and that. But it is British Columbia, right? So they can't make that decision based on your municipality. That's your municipality. So you're doing the right thing by going and asking for the change. Get a petition going. That's what Jeremy would say, I think, Wally. Would he not say get a petition?
Yeah. So sorry, is it that they don't want you smoking within 7 meters of
Of a sidewalk.
of a sidewalk? This
Yeah.
is something new. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I've dealt with the Smoke Free Ontario Act, but a sidewalk, man, that's a tough one.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, you would have to go at the municipal level on that. That's a municipal rule. Um,
It's not a rule yet. It's
it's not a rule yet. Okay.
No, that's just what the bylaw
They're
is
just doing it.
pulling up.
Yeah, so
bylaw.
petition would be the way to go. I would say I would agree
Petition.
with what Kelly said. Start getting a petition.
Yeah.
Get in front of those
Yeah.
local officials. You'd be surprised what happens when you start talking to the local municipal guys and get a few guys banding together. That's what we had to do at the lounge downtown.
Let's talk about Niagara.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
Yeah.
Niagara.
Yeah.
Share a little bit about Niagara from that level. Is that with Niagara Falls, we're going to be we'll talk about the 420 event in a minute, but every year for the next, 100 years, we'll be throwing a 420 event in Niagara Falls. We're working on that. And we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing if we didn't have the support from the mayor and the municipal government and the tourism board, and they're with us. And so, but they have laws that are even more extreme than most places because it's such a tourism place. We want to be able to use their parks to put on a big festival. That's our goal, our long-term goal. But we have to get a lot of extra permission for that. We have to get permission from different areas of the government, and we have to go one by one to do that. And they listen to us, they hear us. What they're saying is, of course, once you have the permits, we'll be more interested and we'll say yes to you, but you have to get the permits and you have to get the legislation changes or created anyway. And so it's one-on-one conversation. And like Wally's saying, you have to just one by one to have that conversation and meet with them. And that's that's the hard part of this, is that you have to lobby and have those conversations. And so luckily we have Jeremy as a professional lobbyist. Although he's not a professional lobbyist, he really has become one over this last decade with his petitions and his conversations with the governments. And then we have Karen, who's taking it from her angle of like knowing everybody in Niagara Falls. So we've got sort of two angles that are beating the same one. And it's just a little place. It's just little Niagara Falls, right? In the grand scheme of it. And that's what it is. We're working on one. Okay, it says yes in Niagara Falls. We've got it there. Now we can move to the next one. And so it's nice to know that you're doing the same thing in British Columbia. Although it feels like it's going up against the wall and you're up against hurdles and whatever, that's what pioneering is. That's how we became legal in our country. That's how medical cannabis became legal. All of those fights in the courts, right? That's how legal adult use became legal. All of this activism. So you just keep walking the walk, right?
Thanks, Kelly. Christina, did you have a question? You had your hand up there for a sec.
Yeah, excuse me. I was just wondering how I know that there's that law that says that cannabis smoking is permitted anywhere, cigarette smoking is permitted. So is cigarette smoking permitted in Nelson, or because I know sidewalks are public property where you can smoke. So I wonder how that relates. Would that help at all, or has anyone come across that particular legislation being useful?
Yeah, thanks. I'll explore that more. I know that there is a meter. You can't smoke within so many meters of entrances and things like that.
Yeah. Yes, there is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Fire
in Ontario,
entrance.
that's it. 9 meters
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
an exit, an entrance or an exit.
So
Or is it
do you have
120
a
feet? Something like that.
your cafe? Is there smoking space in the back? Like, is it a patio or is it
It's a
all
patio.
inside?
Yeah, there's a patio and also indoor. So it's fully HVAC indoors, as well as the patio is actually off of the main, so our main street, Baker Street. It's actually above, but there's a walkway that goes past, which is like a staircase. So it's not actually on the main sidewalk. It is actually up off.
Did you measure? Did you measure from the sidewalk to the patio?
Yeah, I believe Brenton has done all of that. I don't. Yeah, he's. I'm just trying to promote for him and build awareness and meet with city councilors and talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. The only option would be if, for now, if they do implement that, is again find that one little corner or whatever that's beyond the measurement line. That's what I had to do at the lounge. I had to kind of build a little corridor too, and it's a different way that they measure. If you have like a like the way they usually measure is like a big circle around the so let's say the sidewalk. So it'd be like any angle around the sidewalk in a circle. But then if you build a walkway, they measure within the walkway, and then when you come out the other end, you're legal. It's a weird thing, but I can
the
help you
research license?
if we get to that. Research license is another way
What about
around.
that?
Yeah, he did
Do
look
they
at
have that in
too.
BC?
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
that's what we have here in Ontario. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that might
Look into
that's how
that.
you could get
That's a
away
good
with
one.
inside with the
Yeah.
HVAC. We
Yeah.
have a couple of operators that are doing that in Ontario here and finding quite success. I think you did something with them, Natty, didn't you? Up there in Vaughan. So they're finding success with that. That might be another way around this, Therese. Or Therese.
Yes.
Therese, I didn't even think about this. You have the ability, as working with cannabis in a religion way, and I'll tread very lightly on this because when I was putting together Kelly's Green Lounge, I looked into that and this is Ontario. When you are using smoking in a sacramental way, you have a leeway with it. There is a possibility of that. So when in your own personal work, Therese, I don't think that would work for it overall, but in your own personal work, when you're doing work with them, you have the ability to do that if you're smoking it in a spiritual or religious way. And that happens in Ontario. I would look into that with British Columbia as well, because that's how I get away with it of doing that.
Yeah, maybe we should talk more about that off this. Yeah, I can explore a bit more about that too. Yeah.
For sure.
Awesome. Thank you.
Great conversation. Anybody else have any questions? And come in and join CCTA's member meeting. Shauna is saying, so yeah, can we talk a little bit before we talk about the 420 event? Can we talk a little bit about membership? How who can become a member of CCTA? How do you become a member of CCTA?
Yeah.
Wally, you want to do?
Sorry, one sec. Oops. Can you guys not hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So to become a member, you go on our website, CanadianCannabisTourism.com, and over there there'll be a link specifically just to you just follow the instructions. It's $250 per year, and you just sign up there. That's how you become a member.
Awesome. Sounds easy enough. And as we are partners, how
Yes.
does that work for our members?
Well, you guys can come. You are members. EduCanNation is our member. So just like our CCTA humans will come and visit you at your meetings, your EduCanNation humans will come and visit us. But if you want to become an actual, like if you're, let's say, Therese, you're working with the company in BC and they want to become members, then we come to us. But all of you are all our members as a partnership here. We should be very clear about that. That's
Yes, I just wanted to hear it from you as well.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah, no, you're
let
with
our
us.
members
You're with
know that,
us.
yes, as partners,
Yeah.
you are also members of the CCTA. So come on by
Yeah.
meetings and
Certainly.
yes,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly.
perfect. When you were mentioning Planet 13, I actually was talking to a friend, and I don't know if you have a speaker for your member Monday meeting this month, but I might have somebody for you. I have a friend in California who runs an event called Club Rep. And last year she had an event in Las Vegas, and I believe they went to a couple of different lounges. And anyways, she's hosting a second one this year in June. So I don't know if that's somebody I mentioned CCTA to her, and she's like, I think I'm a member. I'm not sure. Brian Applegarth is my guy, is what she said, and I've heard that name here today. So just throwing that out there if you're
It's funny that you said that. Planet 13 owner is actually coming to the
no
meeting this
way.
month, Larry.
So maybe the
Yeah, and
following one or something like that.
as well as the owner and operator of Las Vegas Cannabis Weddings and Las Vegas Cannabis Tours. So I've got a double hitter coming, and they're just incredible pioneers from Las Vegas. But would you please put me in touch with your colleague so that we can get her interviewed on our Cannabis Tourism Chronicles show?
Okay, perfect.
Because I think that she'd make a wonderful guest. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, wonderful. All right. So yeah, I wanted to throw that out there. So yeah, before we run out of time here today, let's share a little bit about the 420 event for everybody. Excited to hear.
Natty, will you jump in before I talk about it and talk about maybe a couple of minutes about inclusion at events? I think that it would be really beneficial before we talk about the event. I think it would be beneficial for you to talk about that too.
Absolutely. Inclusion, diversity, and accessibility is all things that we think about at the Dope Creative when we're creating our events, making sure that everybody is welcome in our community, regardless of anything that may be going on in the community, and also regardless of race, religion, all of those things. What we try to do mostly is our CEO, Dave, just encountered having a lot of issues attending events because nobody was really thinking about it. But I think across the board in many industries, it's not just the cannabis industry. I think there's a lot of places that don't think about the joy of people with disabilities. So what we try to do is inclusively, we have like um, a safe space because like some people need a quiet space sometimes. I know I do. We talked a little bit at the beginning about that. Where I get overstimulated and I don't have an opportunity to actually reach out to people in the network that I would like to talk to because I just don't have the ability in a moment sometimes. And having a quiet space to go to is always like great space to just end up in for a minute and like be able to get that overstimulation out and then like go back in and be able to network and create business for myself and for many of us on the team and many people in the industry. Um, I think what we try to do at the Dope Creative is we try to attend events and check it out and just kind of give feedback to events if they'll take it from us. All of those things are, I don't know, I think the best way I can put it to you all is that like all of those things are just like human things that we just need to stop thinking are just like additional. Like I think when we look at any of that, like race, all of it, when we think of it all as like additional to, we're still thinking in like a colonization kind of mind. And like um that's what we try to do at the Go Creative. We try to create our events and also add to other spaces, just like we're adding to the 420 event, in a way that comes just to being human, and thinking about all of the things that make a space feel safe for every individual. Um, from being drama free, being accessible washroom. Like there's like in the cannabis industry, Dave attended stuff where there wasn't even an accessible washroom available for him. And like, how can we expect somebody in a wheelchair to come to an event and not have a washroom to go to in 4 hours? And we want them to buy drinks and we want them to buy food, so it's just like very, to me, human things. I don't know, like I grew up in a school where we were introduced to all of this. So like I grew up with all of that. So for me, it's just very easy to think about it as just human things that should be included. They're part of our society, and I think society has forgotten them because we have had just a lot happen, a long time. So, and where right now in the world where DEI, where A has like literally been taken off the end, like accessibility has literally been taken just right off. Everybody just calls it DEI, and we've forgotten that it's DEIA. And so we've literally just, I think almost like it's almost like society's trying to just erase that we even have people with disabilities in our world. So
we're not going to let that happen.
It's,
No
I
way.
think it's very important.
That's why it's so important you're here with us for sure.
It's a very
it really
important
is
thing right now to support it and also go out there and remind people that like all of those things are just human, they're just human things that we should all have. Yeah.
So you're going to come to the event and you're going to set up an area that is the Dope Creative area. And although we haven't planned out how it's going to happen, we're going to do a bingo. We're going to do a bingo with the Dope Creative. So that's part of what you're going to do there. Our whole point for 420 is that we want everybody to celebrate. We want everybody to celebrate 420. How long have we been celebrating 420 as a cannabis culture? It doesn't just happen in Canada, it happens around the world. On April 20th, for as long as I can remember, we've been doing something for cannabis relations on 420. And so part of the CCTA mandate is to make 420 a national holiday in Canada. And I say that, and when people hear me say that, a lot of them go, ah, ha, 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 ha. They have to be just joking. They can't be No, we're serious. That's going to happen. If they can do that for St. Patrick's Day, and they can have parades in the streets for St. I'm not saying that they're going to let us have the day off of work, but what I'm saying is that they're going to tell us that it's okay to celebrate, and they're going to celebrate it with us and appreciate cannabis for what it is here in Canada, and hopefully that will spur it to happen globally because the plan is global freedom of the plant, right? So if we can do it here, we can do it everywhere, and that's why we've put set our sights on Niagara Falls. We're also going to be connecting virtually with 420 operators around the world so that we can show them on a screen so we can celebrate with them there. If anybody here is doing that, I'd love to hear from you because we will find a way to include you in what we're doing. I know we're running out of time, JJ. I don't want to come too close to 1 o'clock and make you go over. It's happening in Niagara Falls at the Cannabis Culture Store. I don't remember the address, but it's right there in Niagara Falls. It's Cannabis Culture's first store in Canada. Cannabis Culture is a legendary cannabis community with the empire of Jody Emery in British Columbia starting it off. And so they're allowing us to use their space and partnering with us for that. We've got a DJ that's going to be playing for hours. There's going to be a dance party happening. There's going to be trivia that's happening with EduCanNation and some comedians. And then comedians are coming to do some stand-up. We've got panels. We've got conversation. And it's just about fun. And we want everybody to come down and have the best time and just really celebrate what cannabis is all about for 420. Wally, I'll let you jump in there before we're kicked off
No,
here.
just gonna say, if you want to grab tickets, there's an Eventbrite link on our website. Just sign up there. Quite a bit of tickets have gone already, so it looks like a decent turnout. So it'll be a good time for sure.
Fantastic. Do you have a link for that Eventbrite? I'm looking for one in myself, but if you could help me.
I will send it to you.
Yeah, put the link in the chat just for everybody. That's great that ticket sales are going well. I know that we've been trying to do our best to help push and promote that.
Thank you.
We're very excited as well. Sean and I have come up with this Cannabis Jeopardy game, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Sean is going to build, her and her husband are going to build it out. And our team has been working on the questions and all of that. So we're really excited. It's going to be.
Can we build a hempcrete house too? Or
hey,
yeah.
You know,
that's the plan.
Wouldn't that be amazing if we just brought like a hempcrete brick and like a block and brought it and just,
that would be awesome.
Be
If you guys have that, bring it down.
Seriously. Oh no, have to ask
we make that happen?
Have to ask Sean on that one. Oh, okay, she said I could do that. That would be a
great one.
That would be a conversation starter for sure, right?
Okay, bring it down. Bring it down.
We're all part of a hemp task force too. There's 5 or 6 of us on this call that are part of the hemp task force, so that's why we're excited about it, I think.
Yes, and I had friends asking last night about the task force, like, can anybody hop onto that? Like, I know we're kind of on hold for the moment, but we will be coming back to it. So if anybody is interested in that, can they come along?
I think so. Why not? Why not? Right? We're building this mission together. We're walking together. Let's go. Right? Hemp heroes. Let's do
Public Hempcrete Association.
Yeah, let's do that.
I imagine there has to be something like that exists already. But yeah, if not, we can make it happen. It's not like we don't have anything else going on, right?
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome. And Sean is saying there's the SQDPI. I'm not sure what you mean by that, though. Anyway, well, this has been amazing. I definitely have a better understanding, and I'm happy to have that because I'm very happy about this alliance that we have going on and all of the tremendous work that we're doing, and super excited for this 420 event. And we look forward to seeing you all there and seeing as many of our members who can be there as possible and as many of our friends. Super excited to confirm we can all join the member meetings, and that is the last Monday of the month. And we will. Is it the same link all the time for that, or is it a different?
No,
it's a different link.
No, it's a different link. We should probably figure out how to do that. No, I don't know if Google allows that, but it might be something for us to link into. But it's a different link, and we'll just send it to you in the email.
Okay, perfect. So we'll just make sure to share it in our team chat for our members, and as well for our friends at the CCTA, as you are members also of EduCanNation. So don't forget that you can come and attend our events as well. Our Friday speaker series, we host 2 a month, and we're always bringing in expert-led or experts to lead the conversation. If you ever know of anybody who you think would be great to come and speak to our members, then please let us know as well. And, all the ways that we can support each other, let's do it. We're very happy to be working with you.
Collaboration.
Yeah,
Yep, sounds good.
exactly.
Really and truly. Yeah.
Amazing. Great. Well, happy Friday, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll leave you all to it and let you enjoy the rest of your
Sure.
day. Hope you have an amazing
Thank
weekend.
you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank
Blessings to you.
Bye.
Thank
you,
you.
Maddie and Kelly, and
Bye.
thanks. Bye for now.